We had a young man and his mom who were reunified just recently. It was a pretty cool story. She had, drug issues, and she got herself clean, and he had gotten his GED, and they were both working really hard to get back together, and they finally achieved that earlier this fall. So that was something we had. Like I said, we don't see it very often. So when it happens, we're really happy, and especially when we feel like it's the right thing.
Safe. Mom's doing good again. Everybody,
exactly.
That's incredible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Welcome to the Bettis Musgrove Show, the podcast where personal injury legal expertise meets real-world advice to empower and protect you. Join us as we delve into the critical aspects of personal injury cases, break down legal jargon into actionable insights, and share essential safety tips to help you navigate life's unexpected moments. And now, here are your hosts, Spencer Bettis and Ben Musgrove.
All right, welcome back to the Bettis Musgrove Show. As always, I'm your host, Ben Musgrove, joined by my co-host and law partner, Christopher Light. Ordinarily, we've got Spencer Bettis here with us as well, but he's been deployed with the Army, so truly missing that guy, but say some prayers for him and his family while he's gone, if you will. Right now, we're in Season 2, Episode 16, which is pretty wild to think that we've been doing that long. Closing up on Season 2 here at the end of the year, moving into Season 3 next year, but we thought we'd try to end the year with something a little bit different, staying on theme with the community. Talking about all the awesome people that live around us and the cool things they do. But in the next few episodes, we really want to focus on nonprofits and giving, and just the holiday season being a season of Thanksgiving and family and love and giving. We thought that was appropriate. So we're going to carry that into today. We are joined by an absolutely incredible woman that you guys are going to get to know here in just a minute. And that's Miss Angela Dikes. Angela, thank you for joining us.
Than's for having me. Glad
Absolutely. So you're the Executive Director of the Bald Ridge Lodge.
Yes.
Okay. And you've been doing that for how many years now?
It will be 6 years in January.
Okay.
When Angela and I spoke earlier, Bald Ridge Lodge has a special place in my heart. It was my first job post-undergrad.
Okay.
I worked there at the night shift. It's actually where I studied in 2009 because there were no other jobs. I studied for minutes into law school doing the night shift at the Bald Ridge Lodge. So back then it was a little bit different, though. We talked about we had kids that had gotten in trouble with the courts as well as foster kids. But now, Angela was telling me it's shifted a tad, which I think is good because that dynamic was tough.
Yeah, that was an interesting dynamic. And it was a little bit that way when I first started there. But over the last 6 years, we've really shifted. There's been several reasons why, but the court doesn't generally remove kids from home for delinquency cases these days. But we're 100% what they call dependency cases now for youth that are in foster care system.
Very cool. Well, why don't you explain a little bit about the Bald Ridge Lodge, what it is and what it was founded on and some of that?
Yeah. So in 2005, Ruth Good, who was the executive director at United Way at the time, did a presentation at the Rotary Club of South Forsyth. And she was explaining that while there was a home for teenage girls in Forsyth County. If a young man needed to be removed from home for any reason, there was no place for them in the county. They were being shipped, 2 hours south of, Atlanta or whatever, which being that far away from family makes it really hard to be reunified, right? You want to have visitation and therapy and things like that to work towards being back together in the family. And so there were some people in the club. Buddy Lang and Charlie Smith were kind of the two main people that spearheaded the founding of the lodge. So they brought a board together, did some fundraising, built the building that we're still in, and in 2008, in August, we had our first resident came. So for the first several years, like you said, it was mostly delinquency cases. The length of stay was really short.
Right.
Kids would be there for a weekend, maybe a week, a month, maybe 90 days.
It was more of a punishment. So it was like kind of
it was kind of like a
juvenile.
First offender type of situation. We'd bring them in, give them some structure, help them learn, some better ways of being in the world, and then go home. But over time, like I said, some laws changed and kind of interpretations of the child child welfare laws and all of that. But and we got our contract for doing foster care as well. So for a while we had both populations, but now we're essentially 100% with the foster care system. We can still take a delinquency case if the court needs us to, but it's pretty rare that happens. So I can give you kind of the quick overview of the program.
Absolutely,
sure. We have 3 programs. So initially we were just the 12-bed group home. So imagine, if you will, in your mind, 12 teenage boys living in a house together.
That's what it was. Okay. That's what it was when I was there.
A young fraternity house.
And it still is.
Yeah. And the ages are 12
to 21.
To 21.
Actually.
Oh, I thought it was 18.
Yeah, so it probably was at the time. Now in the foster care system, if a young man chooses to stay in the system, they can stay until they're 21. So they're no longer in the custody of the state because they're adults, but they enter into kind of a contractual relationship where they agree to do certain things in exchange for the state continuing to pay for their room, board, and watchful oversight. So we have been doing that program for about 17 years now. But in probably around 2018, we started our Aftercare program. So essentially, young people that either go home or go, age out of the system and go out on their own as adults, we just continue to follow up with them and be a resource and, provide coaching and training and just referrals, those kinds of things. We're just, kind of a forever resource for those families and young people. But then in 2023, we were starting to see, we had been for several years, seeing more and more young men that were aging out of the system as opposed to being reunified with their families. And I don't know if you're familiar with the statistics about foster youth and what happens to them when they age out of the system, but it's really bad. 1 in 5 homeless, 1 in 5 incarcerated, like 11% graduate from high school. I think it's something like only 50-something% are employed full-time at age 21. Like, it's bad news. So, and we were seeing it, our young guys were leaving at 19. I'm going to go live with my girlfriend's mom, and, I'm going to get a job at Taco Bell, and I'm going to be on my own, and they just weren't doing very well. So, so we implemented our independent living program, which is where we've rented, we have 2 little apartments. We've rented outside of the lodge in the community, and we cover the bills at 100% at first. And they're able to move in there. They live there independently, but we do have a life coach who, as I say, is all up in their business. Helping them learn what needs to be, learn how to be an adult and how to manage their lives, and, helping them get ahead with education. And they do have to have graduated from high school or have a GED to go into that program, but we're, talking about post-high school education and, technical school or some kind of training, getting a better job so that they can sustain themselves. So over time, they start to pay towards their expenses. And, with the idea that eventually it's 100% and then they're able to go out on their own. But we take those funds that they pay towards their expenses and we put it in a savings account for them. And then when they complete the program, they usually forget that that's what we're doing. They think they're just paying the bills. But we give them back the money that they've paid, so they have a little bit of a little cushion.
That's huge.
So,
I mean,
that was a big step for us. And it we've had some good success stories with it so far. So it's relatively new, but really
you just have 2 apartments. They're here in town.
Yeah, 2 apartments in town. And actually, one is half of a duplex, and the other one is an apartment unit. So
do they have roommates there? Or just
So they'll have. They have their own room, but it's a housemate, right? So 2-bedroom apartments, duplex.
What about the actual lodge? How's it set up room-wise?
Yeah, so we have 12 boys, but we have 8 bedrooms. So half are single and half have a roommate. And a lot of people say, well, how do you earn, having your own room? And it's really not about that. It's more about like personality, needs, age.
I was going to say, try to keep younger ones together.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
brothers,
a bit
sometimes
of
they're siblings.
Yeah,
so and
sometimes siblings should be together, and sometimes they should not.
I've got a
be
couple
together.
that should not and are. So.
Yes.
I can remember that situation as well.
Yes, yeah. So it just depends, and it's a bit of a puzzle every time we have a new resident come in. It's like, okay, where are we going to put him?
They're doing some construction. I was hoping we could go over there and check it out because it's been since 2010 since I've seen it. But it's a big open living room, big kitchen, big like family style seating area for meals, and then just a long hallway with bedrooms on either side, and then kind of a recreation room. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, is how it was when I was there.
That's about right. And probably the only thing we've done since you were there was we actually took in what used to be a covered drive, and now it's 3 spaces, 2 conference rooms and a office space. And then there was a porch, which is now 2 office spaces. So,
that makes sense.
we've added a lot of staff, case managers and program directors and things like that. And so we need office space, and then we've got a gym, a workout room for the boys. We've got an enrichment room, the living room. As you know, it got a recent upgrade this past summer. So
it was really neat for me. I'm sorry, I don't want to make it about me.
No, make it about you. It's
the story, the place was awesome, and I'd done some youth camps and stuff, so I was kind of had a heart for it anyway. But the boys, and some of them were 17. I was 22 or 3. I wasn't much older than them, so it was fun. I got to go to the park and play ball, and they had a little basketball hoop out there, and it felt like to me they enjoyed that part of it because most of the workers then were women, and of course that's okay, and of course they need that too, but it felt like we bonded on a kind of sort of a male.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It was neat. So I don't know if that's still the case with your.
I think right now we actually have a really good mix of men and women as employees. A lot of people ask me about that. They think sometimes, I guess you have to be a male to work there, and I'm like, well, that's great, but no, it's not required. But we talk about it because we feel like these guys, when they're in their biological homes, a lot of times they have been around abusive men, right? But they've also been around women who are submitting to that. And so it's different for them to see men who are kind and appropriate and women who are strong and can say no and make decisions and that kind of thing. So we're really trying to give them a broad range of opportunities. But they need the male role model, but they also need to be nurtured. So we're feel like we're doing a pretty good job right now of providing both of those things for them. So,
pretty much stay fully booked the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much we're full. Like I said, we have 12 beds, and right now we've got 11 full. We do tend to stay pretty close to that, 10 to 12 almost all the time.
And I mean, Baldridge, I assume it's over there off of Baldridge somewhere. I don't know where you guys are located.
Close to exit 15. Yeah.
It's close to the juvenile courts.
Okay.
So Ben's on the CASA board, and I assume each kid still has a CASA.
Not everyone, but because we don't have all Forsyth County kids. We have the majority of Forsyth County kids. With our contract with the foster care system, we actually can take kids from all over the state. Yeah. But majority are Forsyth, Dawson, Hall County. Occasionally there's a Franklin or a Union County, but most of the Forsyth County kids definitely have CASAs.
That was my first introduction to CASA, which I thought was cool because the kids really liked their CASA people. And we would always let them call them. They couldn't always call family members. There's court regulations and different things, but they could always call their CASA members, and they did, and they utilized that resource a lot. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, CASAs are great. They think their role. I think their role is to help advocate for what's best for the kid.
And the volunteers at CASA blow my mind.
Have somebody doing that.
That's really neat.
That's great.
Well, tell us about you. Where did you come from? How'd you get here?
Yeah, great question. So I actually pretty much grew up in Texas my whole life, and was there until 2019 when my husband had been working for a company here in Atlanta, but he had been working remotely, and he was traveling. First, it was 1 week out of the month, then it was 2 weeks out of the month, then it was 3 weeks out of the month, and then they were like, "Do you want to move to Atlanta?" And at that point in time, I have one son, and he was between 8th and 9th grade. Okay, and it was pretty tough, having just him by myself most of the week. So anyway, it was a relatively easy decision, although it was very hard to leave all of our family and friends. And my son had lived in one house his entire life, but he was like, Atlanta, isn't that where they filmed most of the Marvel movies? And we said, yes, in fact it is. And so he was into it. He is now at Georgia State studying film and media. So,
cool.
it all comes around. But anyway, yeah, so we moved here for my husband's job. And I had been in social work my, entire career, mostly worked with youth and family serving organizations. And so when I got here, I was, looking for something in that realm, and eventually found that, at the time you mentioned CASA. So Heidi Snary is the director there now. Well, she was the director at Baldridge Lodge, and
she was in my initiating class.
Yeah, she worked there as a youth care specialist.
We trained
initially.
at the same time. She started there.
Yeah. So she had decided to retire and was planning to travel and do all kinds of things. And so she was on her way out, and I came in January of 2020.
Yay.
And so that's why she's not still retired, I think. But it worked for me. She was ready to make a change, and I thought it was a really good fit to be at the lodge.
So you got all of 8 weeks under your belt before
Correct.
COVID. Wow.
Yes.
Incredibly challenging time.
Yes, that was.
But you didn't know any different, maybe. So
exactly. Yeah, that's what I realized is like I didn't know what it should have been or what it could have been. We were figuring it out as we went along, and it was a real bonding time for me and the staff, and and figuring, the boys figuring out what's going on. They did not understand, why can't we go anywhere? They thought it was the staff was, keeping them down.
Right. Well, and from a staff perspective too, and during a school year, the kids are gone, so there's administrative things that are the cleaning, and
yes,
bookwork, and then but in the summers it's not quite like that.
No. So it was like
COVID
summer
time,
forever, forever. Plus
Yeah.
school with summer forever.
Long line
so
school.
yeah, that was a wild time.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah.
And did you step straight in as the executive director?
I did, yeah. I had been in like program director roles in previous organizations that I'd worked with, and so I felt like when I moved here, I was like, what I want is an executive director role. I want to be the person that reports to the board and is, responsible for what's happening here. I felt like I was ready for that, and fortunately, the board committee agreed when I applied. So yeah.
And how many board members?
I think right now we have 17.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's a pretty
That's a
large
pretty good-sized board. Yeah.
it's a working board. They do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We try to have representation from lots of different areas of the community because our boys are involved in so many things. So we try to have somebody from the school system and the sheriff's office and medical people and business people and, people that understand the foster care system, that kind of thing. So we do end up with a pretty large board. But
I neglected to mention in the beginning, special thanks to Kevin Talent and Adam Rose for setting this up and getting this together.
Absolutely. Yeah. Both on the board.
And I didn't. So you and I served together. We just talked about on Leadership Forsyth, and the 2021 class. Mm-hmm. So you had just started at Baldridge when that happened.
Yeah, I'd been there about a year. Well, no, less than a year. Yeah, because we started in September.
Yeah.
But actually, before I even got the job, as I was, sort of learning about the community and things like that on the internet, I found Leadership Forsyth, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. I think I'd like to do that at some point, but I wasn't ready to pay for it as just an individual.
Yeah.
But when I started at the lodge, several of the leadership staff had gone through it, and they were like, you get to do this next. Here's the application. So
that's fun.
I was excited. Yeah.
No, we talked about too. I mean, we joke because pretty much everybody that comes on the podcast from Forsyth County has been on leadership
through there
in some capacity. We're going to get this guy on there eventually. He's fighting it, but it's going to happen.
It's a good experience.
All the extra time we got.
Yeah, it's one day a month. You can make it work.
That's right.
So I assume there's state funding, but that doesn't cover everything.
Yes. Yeah. So we have a contract with the state for foster care, and the contract is called Room, Board, and Watchful Oversight. And I kind of halfway joke that with the funding, they can have room or board or watchful oversight, not all three. So we do have, we do need donations to help us, continue to provide all the great services that we do for the boys. And we write grants, and we have, individual donors, corporate donors. We do some fundraisers. We don't spend a lot of time on events because they tend to not be a great return on investment. But yeah, we do need help.
And y'all just had one, didn't you?
Yes, we had we call it our annual porch party at Rock Solid Brewing in Ball Ground, and essentially it was kind of a casual, just come together, donors, supporters, volunteers, bring your friends, just have a beer and eat some food and enjoy, celebrating with us the work that we've done over the past year.
Yeah.
So it was a great time, very good energy in the room and lots of people there just supporting us and having a good time on a Sunday afternoon.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And raise a little bit of money?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you have guys like that have been through the program? Do they get to come back and show up at things like that and sort of give a testimony or anything?
They can. We don't often have them in person like that, mainly because they're off doing their thing,
Sure.
We've tried at different times to maybe do some videos, and there is actually a pretty good video from a former resident on our website.
I watched it last night.
Oh, did you? Yeah. So, but we have guys that are everywhere. So one of our former residents graduated high school in 2022, joined the Navy, and he checks back in periodically. He actually, when he was with us, which he was there during the COVID times, we had, that was actually the very first time that we allowed young men at Baldrige Lodge to have phones at the lodge. So he actually helped, he was on the task force, I'll say, of residents that helped us come up with the plan for allowing residents to have their phones. And so when he started driving, he shared his locations with myself and our program director.
Sure.
And every now and then, he's still on my locations. Like I'll open up my phone and there he is in Singapore, Guam, Japan, whatever. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. And he calls our program director on Mother's Day. He's, this is his family now because he was there for probably 3 or 4 years before he graduated and went off into the world. So we have quite a few that we stay in touch with that way through our Aftercare program, but just they reach out. And that's actually something I've been really surprised about when I started at the lodge. I can't tell you how many times just randomly we would have a young man ring the doorbell and say, "Hey, is so-and-so staff member here?
Right.
Is Miss Adria still here? I wanted to tell her I'm doing good,"
Really?
And they just stop by. In fact, we had probably been a couple years now, a new landscaping company started working on our yard, and they came to do their first service, and our program director, her name's Adria, got a text and said, "Hey, are you in the building?" And turns out one of our former residents was working for the company, and he was now there, out there doing the yard. And so, everybody that remembered him went out and, gave him a hug and, talked about how he's doing. So
I love success stories. That's awesome.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm sure there's tons of challenges and that, but I love the success stories too. Is there any other specific stories without
giving names, of course.
Sure.
But I think there's one young man that comes to mind who I think kind of demonstrates the range of, kind of going all the way through all of our programs. He came to us when he was 17. During 2020, I think, is when he moved in, and he'd been in lots of other group homes in the state and had just been through a lot. And he walked in, and within a few days, he looked at the staff and he said, "I'm going to stay until I'm 21. I'm going to live here until I'm 21." And, like I said before, 21 is when you have to leave foster care.
Right.
And, but he could have left at 18, but he was like, "No, I'm good. I'm staying." And he did. He came in at 17. He got his GED. He was pretty much, done with traditional school.
Yep.
So we supported him with getting his GED. He got a full-time job right away, and really almost immediately kind of became like a leader. He was the oldest in the house at the time.
True.
And the other boys started looking up to him, and he was really doing like the things that you want all of them to do, study, get your education, get a job. He also struggled with quite a bit of mental health issues, some pretty significant things. He had some family. He had some siblings that would tend to kind of take advantage of him.
Right.
And so over the course of, a few years, we were working with him on kind of getting those life skills and learning how to take care of his own medication and, mental health and those kinds of things, and also have a little bit of a backbone with his family. And honestly, we got to 3 weeks before his 21st birthday, and we had just opened the independent living program about 2 months prior. And so we said, I think he can do it. He didn't drive, but he had a full-time job.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, you're going to have to figure out how to get yourself to work once you get to the house over here. And I was amazed. He never missed a day of work because of transportation. He got himself a little a relationship basically with his Uber driver, and they kind of went off book. Don't tell anybody. And so he got himself to work every day, was doing great. And as I was talking about earlier, we started to charge him a little bit towards his living expenses. Yeah. And the rent that we found at this one place is actually pretty reasonable. So with 2 residents, it was probably about $550 a month would be his total rent, not including utilities or whatever. But he started paying $100 a month, and then we were like, great, you've been doing that for multiple months. Let's go to $250, and then we were just about to bump him up to $500. And lo and behold, he figured out that he and his brother could get a place together and they could do it for even cheaper. And he decided he was ready to be independent. Yeah. And he was able to, move in with him and make that transition all on his own in his timing. And we were there to support him. So, and we check in with him regularly. He randomly will text. He was a real creative kid. He writes music and stuff. And so he'll periodically text a link to a song that he's written. And we always know he's doing well mentally if he's writing songs. So it's all good.
When you were telling that story, it just was flooding memories of my time again. And just one thing you said was he was the strong leader and a bunch of the boys. It's amazing when you have one of the older boys that takes that role and the other kids kind of follow that, how much easier, I guess, the house becomes.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they're policing themselves sort of, instead of you having to be a parent to them all the time. I found that too. I saw that in just the year's time I was there, which is it was a very neat thing on both sides though.
Yes,
because if you have the other way,
the opposite direction. Yeah. So we really pay a lot of attention to who we're bringing in to the house, and we have some kids that have been there for so long. We really have a long length of stay right now. Just like I said, not a lot of reunification.
What is the length? I mean, the average length of stay.
I think I did some math the other day, and I didn't include the current resident, so I think that would actually bump it up quite a bit more, because our longest resident has been there about longer than me, actually, more than 6 years. Yeah. And then the next one after him is probably 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So there's some that have literally this is their teenage home, but we have others that have been, a couple of years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, newer guys, all the time. So we have to look at the mix, and how will this new young man's behaviors and needs fit with the guys we have right now. So,
and is reunification always the goal, or is it sometimes it's like
it's always the goal initially on DFACS's part, but something that we've noticed is if a teenage boy is removed from a biological home, because they remove on risk, right? And so if a teenage boy can't keep himself safe, it's a pretty bad situation. Sure. And so the likelihood of the family getting it together enough for him to return before he turns 18 or 21 it just seems like it's less likely.
Makes sense.
So that's, unfortunately, that's what we're seeing.
Well, and unfortunately, what I saw too is we'd have family days where they could come visit and stuff, and almost 95% of the time when that happened, the boys would regress some from those visits, as opposed to it being a lifting thing. Right. So, and that lends me to think that what you're saying is, the reason maybe.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes that's definitely true. Now, we did have another success story. We had a young man and his mom who were reunified just recently. It was a pretty cool story. She had, drug issues, and she got herself clean, and he had gotten his GED, and they were both working really hard to get back together, and they finally achieved that earlier this fall. So that was something we had. Like I said, we don't see it very often. So when it happens, we're really happy, and especially when we feel like it's the right thing.
It's safe. Mom's doing good again. Everybody,
exactly.
That's incredible.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it sounds like what you're doing, a big thing what you're doing is you're empowering these young men and trying to teach them and some counseling and life coaching and as a young man, they're probably more embracing that of I can do this on my own too.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like, we hope your mom or dad, gets this issue taken care of and you can go home. But if not, we're going to help you be ready to handle life on your own, and even if you do go home, you need to be the one that's taking care of you, like they're old enough to do that.
Tell me about that process. So when a new young man comes into the home, do you just immediately start with counseling? Or you guys, obviously you're providing a safe place to live and food and that type of thing, but how do you develop the child?
Yeah. So when they come in, we generally have an idea of the issues that they're dealing with or the things that they might need. We have a case manager. We actually have two people in that role at the lodge now that are kind of in charge of all things, for the individual boy. So if he needs a dental appointment, the case manager's on that. If he needs therapy, well, they all need therapy. They all go to therapy.
Right.
So we're either if they're coming to us from another foster placement, sometimes they have a therapist that's willing to follow them, and if they do, then we'll definitely keep working with that same person because why not keep the continuity, right? But if not, or if they're coming from hours away, then we would set them up with one of the therapists that we work with here in town, and that's going to start as soon as we can get them in, you know.
And based on circumstances, they develop a plan for each child, for each boy.
Yeah, individual service plan is going to have all the things that they're working on, and kind of figuring out what's the education situation, what are the needs? Are they in special ed? Do they, would they do better in a self-paced situation? Are they in, do they need to have a self-contained classroom? Those kinds
That's
of
what
things.
I couldn't remember. Did they all go then to the same school system?
They're all in Forsyth County schools.
But I couldn't remember. I remember they got on the bus, but the bus wouldn't have taken them to 20 different schools.
Well, actually,
or they do.
Believe it or not, we have such a great relationship with not only Forsyth County schools, but we work well with Hall County and Dawson County as well. So with Forsyth County, if he is coming, so we're zoned for Central, but if one of the boys came out of the Denmark district and was planning to go back to the family that still lives there, then they would take him to Denmark, so that he could remain there. And same with Dawson and Hall. If reunification is the plan, they would. It was
They'll
really
send somebody
interesting.
all the way down to
the Forsyth bus would pick them up at the lodge, take them to the county line. The Dawson bus would pick them up and take them to the school. Now, that was if they're planning to be returned home. If that plan changed, then they would make a change and go to Central after that. And we also have kids with specialized, special needs. And so we've had some that have gone to North and they've been in their autism classroom or, different kinds of things like that. So I think we have like 3 or 4 buses that come to Baldrige Lodge every morning.
Well, kudos to the school systems.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
incredible.
They're amazing. And we love Forsyth County schools. Yeah.
How many staff members do you guys have now? Sorry, go ahead.
Let me get a drink.
Yeah.
I took a drink a minute ago and went down the wrong pipe. I was over here drowning.
So we have, I think we're around 25 staff members at this point in time. There's about 7 or so of those that are some sort of administrative type of position. So myself, the program director, we have an assistant program director, case managers. We have a facilities, kind of maintenance person, a fundraising person, volunteer coordinator. So that kind of position. And then the rest are what we call youth care specialists. So we have staff that are on shift 24/7, 365.
How many people? Or what's the ratio now?
At least 2 adult staff members.
Okay.
Now, sometimes because we do have, the boys are very active. We've got guys that are working, in football, going to, internships, jobs, counseling, all the things. So sometimes we'll have, in the afternoon especially, we'll have 2 staff on shift, and then we'll have a third one that's just driving.
A runner.
Driving people where they need to go.
And their CASAs do that sometimes,
and we'll have volunteers that can help with that sort of thing too. But But yeah, generally the youth care specialists are getting the boys where they need to go and kind of walking them through the daily schedule. Now it's homework time. Now it's tutoring time. Now you can have your phone. Yeah, that kind of thing. Making
You're a
dinner.
tutor?
Well, I mean, I would help them with their homework.
Bless their
I
heart.
was just in college. It was a perfect time for me to be.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, we have a really
Y'all need to vet a little better.
Right? We have a great tutor now. She's a volunteer, and she actually started in COVID.
Okay.
And I want to say probably any kid that has graduated high school since she started in 2020 is because of her.
Really?
She keeps them on track.
That's
and
funny.
yes, they don't appreciate her like she should be appreciated, but we try to appreciate her.
Well, I'm trying to learn how to do 4th grade math right now, so I give her all the credit in the world for even trying.
Yeah. She'll flip from math to, social studies and English, writing a paper with this one while she's helping this one with math. Shout out to Lori Oriati. She's our amazing
Man, it sounds like you're
tutor,
well staffed.
so.
That's fantastic. I feel like, obviously, if you said it started in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
I was there in 9 and 10. It always seemed like they were begging people to come.
Yeah.
Work.
And I'll say there's been some times since I've been there, especially in like 21, 22, when myself and our program director, we were on shift.
Doing shifts.
We were on shift.
I feel like that
was
a
really rough time. But over probably the last 2 or 3 years, you'll probably appreciate this. We have increased our pay rates.
Oh.
And that has helped a lot with getting staff and keeping staff. But we have a really good team right now.
Sounds like some good leadership to me.
Aw, thanks. But the people are all so nice, and they're there for the right reasons, and it's makes such a difference when you have people that care. You can shape and you can guide people that are there for the right reasons, and it hasn't always been that way, but it is right now.
Well, take some credit too. I mean, just listening to the stories about the transportation, the food, I can't imagine how much food you guys go through with 11 boys.
Yeah,
that's a lot of groceries.
Insane.
Food situation's crazy,
It's
but
insane.
I agree with you. And the apartment deal, I mean, this whole
Tutoring,
thing, it's grown a lot since even when good shout out to the guys that started the vision too.
Sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I can't believe it's turned into what it is, and that's incredible.
Yeah, we're really proud of it, and and this, I mean, honestly, the community has created it and has kept us going. I mean, we would not be where we are without the support of this community. So
there's
amazing.
several groups in the county that do the nonprofit thing, and you guys are always in the top of that list. So I mean, you're doing a good job of marketing, and it does seem like the community is very, very much behind you. So
yeah, absolutely,
that's great. And the board too. You got a great board.
Yes,
I know
we do.
Several folks on there.
Yeah,
they're very passionate about it.
Yes, and former board members too.
Sure.
They stay connected and stay supportive. So
and how can you not be passionate about that? I mean, you're literally changing kids' lives and
exactly
making good adults. So that's huge.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any plans for the future of expanding?
So one thing that we're thinking about a lot right now, so our oldest residents in the house right now are 20 and 19. We have three young men, 2 are 20 and 1 is 19, who have autism and lower IQs. And so we've got a year to figure out what these guys are going to do at 21. And so we're kind of looking into the possibility of a supported living program as opposed to independent living program, if you will.
Is that Keystone Village?
I was about to say that.
Something like that. We're definitely not going as full scale as what they're doing.
Okay, I didn't know if you meant trying to partnership.
Yeah, I mean, would love to. I'm not sure we can afford, our guys don't have the obviously the family support, right? And I think like a Keystone Village and similar types of programs are for families that have a person in the family, right, that needs a long-term place when mom and dad pass away, who's going to take care of the person with special needs. So yeah, we're kind of in that same realm with these guys, but we're the parent at this point. And it's not a legal relationship. So how do we manage that? So we're looking into having sort of a special branch of our independent living program that would support these guys with special needs beyond age 21 and until maybe there's something like, they could do a Keystone Village or one of these other programs that, could maybe work with them.
So you want to expand the apartment concept?
I would love to if we could find more affordable housing.
Okay.
It's been really tough finding places that a nonprofit can afford to pay for the rent, but then also that the young man could afford to pay as well.
Sure.
And originally when we opened that program, we were thinking that we would turn over the apartment, like when they were ready to graduate out of the program, they would just take over the lease.
Sure.
But we realized, well, two things happened. One is most of the young men were moving out of the area.
Yeah.
That was their choice to do that. But the other thing we realized is if we did that, we wouldn't have a program anymore because we would run out of affordable housing.
Yeah, right.
So we've held the leases on the two places that we've found. And I would love to look at more if if there's that possibility. But
I understand them needing to move out. I mean, this is not a cheap place to live. So
yeah, exactly.
Dawson or Hall, maybe you get a little cheaper apartment. And,
right.
You guys are a 501c3?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if an apartment complex wanted to donate an apartment to you, could they?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have known about that program. I know they did some rent reduction programs for first responders.
Some of these newer apartment complexes. Yeah. Yeah, I'd heard about that too.
You need to get out there and shake some
I didn't
trees.
know.
I
I do know some of the owners, or at least the developers of them. So
we happen to know a city councilman too, and I think maybe there's some apartments coming to the city. So
I don't know, but
we're open to conversations for sure. So,
how else can the community get behind you? I mean, obviously, give you money.
Yes,
you can use all that. You could take probably.
I talk about the three. I'm gonna say four. There's 4 F's. Okay, the first one is, as you mentioned, food.
Right.
We can always use food, groceries. Drop off healthy snacks, grocery gift cards. People will make a meal and bring that, or send a catered meal over. Whatever food. Just all the food, y'all. 12 teenage boys. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So food is the first one. Funding, obviously, as you said, we need donations to keep the program going. The third one is fun. We love to have the boys do different kinds of outings, have new experiences. So if somebody wants to sponsor an activity, or become a mentor, take boys out to do fun things, that kind of thing is always part of the fun. And then the last one I talk about is freedom. So I talked a lot about, the idea of them transitioning into independence. And so things that they need to be able to do is, learn to drive and have a car. We've actually had people donate their really old cars as long as they're running. We can take those, and we have been able to give away a number of cars to young men that are graduating from high school, and that's pretty fun to hand them a set of keys. I mean, even if the car looks terrible, they are so excited, about that. So cars that you don't think you can get a good trade in for, consider donating it. But also things like just gift cards for, a restaurant. So young man wants to, go on a date or, hang out with a friend, like he can, do that independently. That is allowed in the foster care system, and that helps give them that ability to do some of those things on their own or with friends.
And the boys are allowed to work, I guess.
Yes.
And if they make money, do they get to keep it?
Yeah. We try to get them to open a savings account. We obviously don't want them just like holding on to cash in their rooms. That's probably not the best place to save it.
Right.
But we do have what we call the vault in the, which is just a locking, cabinet, and their valuables can go in there, so they're safe, in one of the offices. But yeah, we encourage them to get jobs and get cars and have friends and do all the things that normal teenagers do. That's
if somebody does want to do something that you mentioned, 4 F's. What do you recommend they do? What's the first thing? Is it call? Is it an email? Is it a website?
They I think any and all of those, but probably the easiest thing for people to do would be to go to the website. We do have a contact us form on there. You can type in what you're interested in, and it comes straight to my email. And then if you want to volunteer, I'll forward that to the volunteer coordinator. If you want to donate money, I'll probably call you immediately. If you want to bring food, I'll set you up with somebody who can schedule that. So if you want to donate a car, again, all the things, just send it in a contact us form. You can always email or call as well.
Remember, we had good relationships with local grocery stores, and they did some good things. I remember thinking that.
Yeah. We
surplus stuff.
Yeah, we have
things.
some that will do that still, and mostly right now, the people that are bringing food, it's like a church Sunday school class will drop off, snacks once a month. We've got a group, the Altrusa Club is somebody from the club brings a homemade meal every Tuesday.
For all 11 guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's great. And
I got to imagine a lot of spaghetti.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of spaghetti, pizza. We have a
not
lot of
eating
cookouts.
pizza.
We have a lot of cookouts,
Yeah.
But hey, they'll try different things. A lot of the guys really like to cook too. So we do have volunteers that go through our volunteer process, and then they'll come and, make different kinds of things. Some of the boys are more adventurous in their eating than others, but
I set off the fire alarm cooking one morning.
Oh, that happens a lot.
Because at night shift, we would cook breakfast before school and bacon, and I couldn't turn it off.
Yeah.
Fire department's I didn't know how to turn it. The directors, or none of the casement, the bosses were there, and I was like, and the boys were so mad. I mean, it was like 6:30 in the morning.
This is the guy you had tutoring, by the way.
Right.
Oh, goodness.
Yep. That happens.
Yeah.
Yep. Still, that happens still. Mostly when the boys are cooking these days, that we'll get some smoke going up to the alarm.
Well, what about with the holidays coming up? What do holidays look like for you guys?
Yeah. So, it's a great time. The community, like I said, is very generous. We do have 2 Amazon wish lists that are linked on our website. One is specifically like things that the boys want, right? Different kinds of gift cards or a specific stuffed animal or hoodie or whatever, that kind of thing. And then we also have kind of a household needs and wants, things like an extra microwave. We were on the other day, I guess it was Monday of this week. The kids were out of school this week in Forsyth County, and everybody was microwaving their lunch at the same time, including me. I was like, "Oh, I guess I'll get in line." They were like, "Miss Angela, we need a new microwave. We need a second microwave, don't you think?" And I was like, "I'm going to put it on the Amazon wish list right now, y'all." So, so things like that we need for the whole. So if people were interested in helping for the holidays, that'd be a place to go.
Okay.
But again, financial gifts are always welcome around the holidays too. Sure. So that end of year giving is what keeps the nonprofit going throughout the year.
A big event or anything through the holidays?
The boys do lots of little things. There's a group that puts on kind of a special luncheon for them in early December. They do, the sheriff's department does I think they call it Cops and Kids, where they have several nonprofits clients come and the kids get to shop with the cop. They get $100 and they get positive interactions with law enforcement. It's really fun. Some of our guys have some trauma related to law enforcement, and so it's a really cool program. And we've really changed some perspectives with that whole thing too. So,
do y'all have a security or an officer that stays on property?
No.
Okay.
Just our staff.
Okay.
Like you.
Like the tutor chef over here.
That's right.
I mean, that was the training part. And like I said, it's, back then it was, you had kids that had gotten in trouble for violent stuff. So sometimes that was a little scary, but I'm glad that's not the case anymore.
No, we got people that are dysregulated sometimes, but they're not trying to hurt people really.
We only had one real big fighting incident while I was there for a full year, and it was pretty rough, but we handled it okay.
Yeah, we've got a good group of guys. I mean, they're fun to be around. So,
Do any of them get to go home for the holidays?
Not very often.
Okay.
But sometimes that will happen. And a lot of the guys will have, even if their biological parents aren't in the picture or they're not appropriate, they might have an aunt or a grandmother or maybe an older sibling or a younger sibling or something like that they can spend some time with. Yeah. But for the most part, there will be boys at the lodge on Christmas morning, and that's where they will, open presents, and those are presents that the community has made possible. Like that's how they get Christmas.
Yeah.
So
y'all do a tree and all that good stuff?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, we do. We have a volunteer, of course, who comes and helps us decorate and makes it really.
You've always got to figure out stuff to do, so it's decorating holidays.
Yes. Yeah. We're always looking for activities for them to do during the break from school, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
Any particular groups or people or anything you want to shout out or ask for? This is your opportunity to lay it on the line. We'll broadcast it for you.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, we have a lot of amazing donors and supporters in the community. I'll say that Brownsbridge Church has been really great to us. We're one of their Be Rich partners. And so there's a financial component, but also they send groups of volunteers to do different projects. So we're actually gearing up right now for our project day with Be Rich, which is on November 8th. So we have several projects on their portal that people can sign up for if they go to Brownsbridge, look for Baldridge Lodge, sign up for one of those. We'll have a ton of people. We'll get the boys out of the house. They'll go do something fun, and we'll have people just all over the house doing different things, painting, organizing, doing yard work, all that kind of stuff.
I was going to ask, is it strictly secular, or is there a religious component to it?
The organization itself is not faith-based, but we have, like I said, a lot of churches and just people that are that impact the lodge a lot.
And the boys go to church if they want to go?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have several that do
awesome
every Sunday. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Mostly volunteers will come and, pick them up. Yeah,
shout out to Brownsbridge. Doing big things.
Yeah, they are.
Awesome.
Well, let's move into rapid fire.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. It's our favorite part.
This is.
Okay.
It's just a little quirky, it's a little bit off topic.
No worries.
Do with it.
I like it.
So you're a college football fan?
I'm not a football fan at all, really.
Grew
But
up in Texas.
I know. But if you made me pick, I would of course choose UT, Texas, not Tennessee.
Texas.
UT is
the
Texas.
correct UT.
Yes. That would be my choice, but I honestly don't
fuss.
I don't. Sorry.
All right. Well, throw that question out. So this is what we talked about this a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Your favorite spot or hidden gem in Forsyth County?
Okay. Yes. So I was thinking about this, and there's three things came to mind.
Okay.
Because when I have visitors come in from Texas, there's usually three places that I'll take them. And I don't know that these are hidden, but these are the ones that I like to show off. So if they're up to it, I will take them hiking on Sawney Mountain. We'll go to Indian Seats, of course.
Yep.
That's like the one hike that I know the way.
Right. Hard to get lost on that one.
Thanks to Leadership Forsyth. That was the first time I did that one. The second one is I will take them across the street to Community Cup, and we'll get some coffee. I love that place. It's very cozy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love City Center. It's really fun. We love to go to the free concerts on Friday and Saturday nights. So if people are in town and that there's something to do over there, we'll definitely be going.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. What about I want to know what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? Kind of on the spot.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. I've gotten a lot of good advice in my life, but probably the first piece of advice that was work related was so when I was in high school, my first job was at Taco Bell, and my
woman
dad,
after my own heart.
Right?
That's my favorite restaurant.
I got another rapid fire question. I'm gonna throw in there now.
I can't eat there anymore. Just FYI.
Oh no! Don't tell me! Don't tell me! No! I don't want to know.
But my dad owned a business, and at one point he hired me, quote unquote, hired me away from Taco Bell by offering me $1.35 an hour instead of $25 or whatever. But his advice to me as an employee was work in such a way that when you leave, people notice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I have, really taken that to heart and tried to be that, wherever I am. So trying to make an impact and, have that good work ethic.
Well, I hope you don't leave Baldridge anytime soon, but when you do, I think people will notice. So
thank you.
Yeah, good work.
Thank you.
You talked about coffee a minute ago. You're a coffee drinker?
Yes.
How do you take it?
I drink only decaf, oddly.
Okay.
But
You couldn't work here.
I do like a coffee that tastes like a candy bar.
Okay.
So
Sugared up.
I'll do a pumpkin spice latte. I do the all the I
holiday
remember having
flavors.
all the holiday flavors. There was
Cinnamon.
a fall flight of hot drinks that Community Cup did last year. It was on this little tray, and there's 4 different ones. They had little pieces of candy that would help you know what was what. It was amazing.
You and Spencer Bettis would get along perfectly.
Really?
That man wants all the syrup in his coffee.
Yes. Oh yes, more sugar the better.
That's funny. I give him a hard time about it. I'm like, just black coffee. What are you doing?
Oh no.
He pumps it full.
So if you weren't in nonprofit, what do you think you'd be doing?
I would probably have a consignment clothing store or something like that. I don't know. I like clothes. I like to shop secondhand and, put outfits together. I don't know.
Sounds like something service-based. You like?
Yeah, helping people. I mean, it would be something along those lines, but yeah.
Awesome.
That's really cool. So he's asking all the serious questions. I just like the fun stuff.
Right.
One of my favorite ones is you get to have dinner with any historical person ever.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it?
All right, I was thinking about this too.
Okay.
I'm thankful that you gave me a heads up because it took me a minute. So I think I was either in late high school or college, might have been right out of college. My family took a trip and we went through Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I think it was on this trip, I picked up a book and it was about the first ladies all through history. And honestly, I was fascinated by every single one of them. So I think any of them, I would love to, sit down with them and understand from their perspective, the wife's perspective.
You get some stories.
Yes. Yeah. How was it really? I think the insider's view from a woman's perspective would be, historically what
We've never gotten that answer. That's
a good one. That's thought-provoking for sure.
Got a lot of presidents, but never any first ladies.
Right. Yeah.
The one in particular, though?
No, nobody in particular. Just like I said, all of them. Maybe a time period would be.
I mean, it's got to be why. Like you didn't sign up for that,
right?
Yes. The husband just said, "Hey, I'm running for president," and off he goes.
Yes.
You're not in the spotlight. You are, but you're not.
Right.
And then,
but
you're getting. You're in.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're in the whole.
And
all the.
Your husband's gone. I mean,
right.
They're working
so
nonstop
curious.
and doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
I don't remember the book. I mean, I read it a long time ago, but I just remember being really fascinated by some of the things that some of them did, just what they were into.
I would love to see my wife's face, so I told her I was going to run for president. I'd have to get that one on camera.
Yeah.
All right, so follow up to that.
Mm-hmm.
The last meal you ever get to eat, what are you having and where's it from?
Okay. So, like I said, I'm from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So Tex-Mex is my favorite.
Okay.
Not just any Mexican, but Tex-Mex, okay? And there is a restaurant in Fort Worth, Texas called Mi Cocina. And after we moved here, the first trip we made back to Texas, we left Georgia at like 6:30 a.m. We drove all the way. So 12 hours, in the car. We drove straight to Mi Cocina. We did not go to any family members. We went straight had dinner and had our dinner at Mi Cocina. So it would be Mexican and it would be Mi Cocina.
Any specific dish?
I really like their taco salad. It's different than you don't get that little weird
tortilla bowl.
Yeah, it's all together and there's like some chips and there's slices of avocado on the side and the meat and the dressing. It's just really good.
I didn't get to have breakfast or lunch, so I'm literally salivating over
here. It really got me too.
What about your favorite vacation spot?
We love to go down to 30A on Florida. Or in Florida. My family, even from Texas, we would drive to 30A every summer. My parents and sisters and nieces and nephews and all of us go down once a year and get a big house on Seacrest Beach. 2 houses now, actually. There's a lot of us. And just hang out on the beach, read by the pool, read by the beach, read in a hammock, eat food, hang out with the family. That's my ideal vacation.
Are you a podcaster? Do you like listen to podcasts?
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Favorite one?
Yeah. Okay. So probably my most universally recommendable one is Happier with Gretchen Rubin.
Okay.
She talks about habits and happiness and human nature and that kind of thing. So I listen to that one every week for sure. I also have some very niche podcasts that I listen to. Yeah. One of my hobbies is scrapbooking, so I have a couple of podcasts about scrapbooking. I listen to podcasts, recap podcasts on TV shows that I like, that kind of stuff. But I really do like kind of the human nature, talk about random things that people need to know.
Very cool.
So yeah,
I like it. Well, why don't we close it out?
All right.
I appreciate you joining us. This was awesome. I mean, really good insight into a really cool organization.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to share what we do.
And hopefully some people will get behind you here and make the holiday special for these boys. And
that's awesome.
That's really what we want to do. So that's cool. Tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find Baldridge Lodge.
You can find us on the website at baldridgelodge.org.
Okay.
You can email me at adikes@baldridgelodge.org. But all of our contact info is on the website. It's probably the easiest place to find us. We do have a Facebook and a LinkedIn we're just Baldridge Lodge, I think, on both of those as well.
Okay.
So we're pretty active there. So we'd love for people to come and like and follow and share and all the things. So, yeah.
All right. Well, y'all go check them out. And again, thank you. You're doing amazing things.
Thank you very much.
Keep it up.
Thanks.
As always, you can find us, bettismusgrove.com, any Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and get your podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.